Hi there. So let's talk about the wrongful death lawsuit that Gabby Petito's mother has filed against Brian Laundrie's estate. So shout out to one of my subscribers, Prickly Pear, for suggesting I look into this. And by the way, please do support my work by subscribing. Hit that like button, hit the bell notification, and if you want to contribute, donate to me making these videos. I'd greatly appreciate it. They're a lot of work. So I'll put a PayPal link in the description box below the video. So I'm Michele Hagan. I'm a legal analyst and I'm a former prosecutor. You may recognize me. I provided a lot of legal analysis on the Elizabeth Holmes case. And I have also posted several videos on the Petito versus Laundrie lawsuit that you might want to take a look at it. But this is something different. This is a wrongful death claim. And I'll talk to you about the process and I'll walk you through the lawsuit. So, this video is for education and information purposes, and it's simply my opinion. So, what's your analysis? Please do leave a comment. That's why I created this channel, so I could get your take. What's your analysis on all of this? All right, so let's take a look at what's been happening in the wrongful death claim that Nichole Schmidt, Gabby Petito's mother, has filed against Brian Laundrie's estate for the wrongful death of her daughter, Gabby Petito. So let's take a look at it, and I'll explain to you, give you an overview of what wrongful death lawsuits are about and what my analysis is. So let's take a look at what's been happening. So this is, I call it the docket, and basically it's a record of the events that have taken place. So if you see here, this is Brian Laundrie, who's the decedent. Decedent is the term that we use for someone who's passed away, somebody who's dead. All right, so this is relating to his estate, and this is in Florida. I'm not a Florida lawyer. I'm a California lawyer. I've done my research, but I'm going to do my best, okay? So, Brian Laundrie, decedent. So it's a petition for summary administration of his estate. Summary administration means, they want to have it administered. They want to do an inventory and accounting of all of his assets, whatever's in his estate, and to close out his estate. All right, so let's see what's been going on here. I highlighted areas that I think are interesting, but I'm just going to go over what I think you might be interested in. So this was filed by his parents, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, who are Brian Laundrie's parents, and it's regarding his death. He allegedly committed suicide after the alleged murder of Gabby Petito, his girlfriend. So his parents are trying to do trying to administer, do an inventory and accounting of his estate so they can close it out, okay? So it also says here, petition of summary administration for $1,000 or more. So that's letting us know that according to Brian's parents, his estate is valued over $1,000, and it's intestate. The word intestate means he died without a will. So there's no will, okay? So his parents, the next of kin, are the ones who are trying to probate his estate, all right? So no will. So in other words, he didn't say what his wishes were. He didn't say where he wants his, $1,000 bank account, who the beneficiaries are. He didn't indicate who his administrator or his executor of his will would be. So this is a case involving probating the death of someone that died without a will. Okay, I hope this is making sense. So we're going to go look through the events that have occurred, and I just want to point out here, on December 13th, there was notice to creditors. So what administrators, his parents, have to do is notify, they have to put a publication in a newspaper or some outlet that could notify all potential creditors of his passing, and that they need to, if they have any claim against Brian Laundrie, they need to let them know, all right? Then we see on December 28th, statement of claim by Nichole Schmidt. So she is letting Brian's estate know that she's going to make a claim against Brian's estate. okay, as a creditor. So we go through here. Then on March 10th, there's a statement of claim. So she filed a statement of claim as an administrator. So what that means is Nichole Schmidt is letting us know that she is an administrator of some estate, and that estate is her daughter's estate, Gabby Petito. So Nichole Schmidt is the administrator. So that's also letting us know that Gabby Petito also died without a will, because Nichole Schmidt is being referred to as administrator. And typically, when you're an administrator, that means you're administering an estate of someone who died without a will, or you would be called an executor or an executrix if you are probating a will, okay, somebody's estate by way of a will, okay. So I hope that makes sense. So Nichole Schmidt is not suing Brian's estate as an individual. She's suing as an administrator of Gabby Petito's estate, okay. So then on March 15, there's an objection to the claim. So at this point, the administrators of Brian Laundrie's estate are objecting to the claim made by Nichole Schmidt. Okay. Then on March 25th, there's an objection to the petition. So I think this is Nichole Schmidt objecting to the summary administration petition filed by Brian's parents. So in other words, she probably is objecting to his parents administering the estate, given the underlying civil lawsuit that she and Joseph Petito have against Brian's parents. I think that's what that means. But anyway, and she's also petitioning for time to file an independent action. The wrongful death claim is an independent action. Okay, it's an independent lawsuit. Right? So then we have a motions date on April 8th. That indicates to me that the court entertained this request, this objection to the petition, and the request for a petition to file independent action by Nichole Schmidt, and the court issued two orders. And those two orders are on April 14th. There was an order appointing a curator. What's a curator? We're not talking about a museum. We're talking about, that's the term they use in Florida for someone who's going to be administering somebody's estate. Okay, so the court appointed a curator. That means that Brian's parents are no longer involved as administering Brian's estate. There's another person now. His name is Brian Spivey, who the court appointed as the curator of Brian Laundrie's estate. Then the court issued the second order, which is an order granting an extension of time to file an independent action. So that was the court letting Nichole Schmidt that she has time to go ahead and file her independent action, which we now know is a wrongful death claim against Brian Laundrie's estate. Okay. Then we see on May 13th, there's a petition for appointment of administrators ad litem to defend an independent action. What does that mean? That means that somebody is petitioning, probably the curator is my guess, is petitioning the court to appoint an administrator ad litem. That means an additional administrator to solely handle the independent action, to defend the wrongful death lawsuit that Nichole Schmidt has filed against Brian Laundrie's estate. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I hope this makes sense. Please do leave your questions in the comment. And if you have any analysis that you want to let me know about, please do post a comment, hit that like button, and do subscribe to this channel. Okay, so now let's walk through. And by the way, just to give you the heads up, on these type of cases, when you're dealing with probate, or you're dealing in kind of divorce situations, or anything that's particularly sensitive, sometimes the court does not make a lot of these documents public, and a lot of times they're protected. Okay, and in this case, many of these documents are protected. But let's go ahead and take a look at what I found, which is the complaint, the wrongful death complaint. Okay, so this was posted on a news outlet's website. All right, so I found it. So anyway, here it is, and I'm going to go through it with you. And this is the complaint, the wrongful death complaint that Nichole Schmidt, as the administrator of the estate of Gabrielle Petito, and that's what it says right there, against Brian Spivey as curator of the estate of Brian Laundrie. So it's Nichole Schmidt in her capacity as an administrator of Gabby's estate. She is suing the curator of Brian's estate. She's suing Brian's estate. She's not suing Brian's parents for wrongful death. Okay? She's suing the estate of Brian Laundrie because, as they allege in this complaint, he murdered her daughter, Gabby Petito. Okay? So let's go through the complaint. It says Nichole Schmidt, as the administrator, brings this cause of action against Brian Spivey, curator of Brian Laundrie's estate. This is an action for wrongful death for damages which exceed $30,000. Now, I've seen it being reported that she's only seeking $30,000. No, this is letting us know that she is seeking damages above $30,000. Okay, it's above, which exceed. And it's typically in wrongful death cases, the type of cases you might see are if there's a defective product and somebody dies, if there's a botched surgery, medical malpractice case, you'll see wrongful death claims, any kind of personal injury or any kind of violence, or in this case, the killing, the murder of their daughter, okay, of her daughter, Gabby Petito. So they have to allege these things, let the court know the damages are going to exceed $30,000. The venue is proper in Sarasota County, Florida. The court has jurisdiction. Nichole Schmidt is the mother of Gabby Petito, is duly appointed as the administrator. So that lets us know that they are also they're also doing probate regarding Gabby Petito's estate, right? She's also tragically deceased, right? So they're letting us know here that Nichole Schmidt has been appointed by the court as the administrator of Gabby Petito's estate, all right? So, number 5, Gabby Petito is survived by her mother and her father, Joseph Petito, who are the only beneficiaries of a recovery for a wrongful death action. So that's telling us that the only 2 beneficiaries that are seeking damages here are Nichole Schmidt, Gabby's mother, and Joseph Petito, Gabby's father. All right? Number 6, the defendant, Brian Spivey, was appointed as a curator of the estate by the court on April 13th. Now we know that there is a petition pending in front of the court now to have another person, an administrator ad litem, to defend this action, not Brian Spivey. He's going to be the curator of Brian's estate, but this particular claim, which is a wrongful death lawsuit, will be defended by whoever the court appoints as the administrator and the duty to defend this lawsuit on behalf of Brian's estate. Okay, then they also say in paragraph 7 that Brian and Gabby were engaged to be married. Paragraph 8, they left New York on a van trip. Number 9, she had hopes of becoming a travel influencer. You can go ahead and read this. And then paragraph 13, it's believed that on August 27th, Brian Laundrie murdered Gabby Petito. The cause of her death was blunt force injury to her head and neck with manual strangulation. All right? Gabby Petito was 22 at the time. This is terrible. This is horrific. Brian Laundrie took his own life. It's also a tragedy. You know, both of these families have lost their children. He took his own life on or about October 20th, 2021. The death, they have to allege this, the death of Gabby Petito resulted from the intentional act of Brian Laundrie, right? So they're pointing the finger at Brian. He was the cause of her death. It was his strangling her that resulted in her death. Number 17, is a direct and proximate consequence of Brian's tortuous conduct. It's torturous because it's a tort. That's the area of law relating to wrongful death. It's a tort. Okay, Nichole Schmidt and Gabby Petito's father, Joseph Petito, incurred funeral and burial expenses, and they have suffered a loss of care. So this is what they're saying. As a result of Brian murdering Gabby Petito, they have incurred funeral and burial expenses. They have loss of care and comfort and have suffered a loss of probable future companionship, society, and comfort. So that's what they're seeking here. They're seeking to be compensated for expenses and for loss. Then we have, hang on a second here. I guess there was a little blip there. Then we have Nichole Schmidt demanding a trial by jury, not by a court, not by a judge, but by a jury and a judgment for compensatory damages for the burial, the funeral expenses, the loss of care and comfort, the loss of probable future companionship, and whatever relief the court deems proper. It's also filed by their counsel, Patrick Riley, counsel for plaintiffs. So that is the wrongful death claim against Brian Laundrie's estate, not against Brian's parents. Okay? So, depending on whether or not what's in Brian's estate and whether or not they get a judgment against Brian's estate for the wrongful death of their daughter, Gabby Petito. So, I did a little additional research and I wanted to find out, how do they probate these claims? And what is the order of probate? Because there was a statement issued by, and I need to look at my notes here, by Attorney Bertolino, who is, I assume, speaking on behalf of the Laundrie family, who has said that they expected to get the claim against Brian's estate for the wrongful death, and it's not likely to be defended. In other words, they're not going to be putting up a defense. I guess that's what he's saying. And that the plaintiff's gain is nothing. In other words, that Gabby's parents are going to gain nothing by filing this wrongful death claim because he's saying that we already know that Brian Laundrie is responsible for Gabby's death, as indicated by the FBI. Okay, but my question is, what's in Brian Laundrie's estate? And the administrator, in this case, the curator, is going to have to do an inventory of all the assets that Brian Laundrie owned, what was in his safe deposit box, what's in his bank accounts, does he own any, property? What's the sum total of that? What's the value of that? Because what happens is the court has to figure out, are there any claims and who gets what out of this estate? So I look to see what's the order of claims. In other words, will Gabby's parents get anything? Is there anything to get? Now, we don't know the value, the fair market value of Brian Laundrie's estate, but I can tell you the order of claims, Gabby's parents are way down at the bottom. Any judgment regarding this wrongful death? So let me just tell you, and again, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong on this. Please do check this out yourself. But typically, the order of claims goes by way of, number one, the cost to administer, including attorney's fees, they get paid first. Then funeral expenses get paid next. Then any taxes, i.e. estate taxes. The value of his estate, I think in Florida, is taxed. And it's also, you pay your federal estate tax. There's any business debts. Those people also, if there are any business debts that Brian was engaged in, if he owes anybody any money regarding any of his businesses, they'll be paid next. And then it's all other claims. And that would be a judgment, in this case, if there is one, for the wrongful death of Gabby Petito. All right, so you see what I'm saying? Gabby's parents are at the bottom here, if I'm reading this right. So I think that's probably what Bertolino means by his comment. I don't know. But also the curator, the one that was appointed by the court, he's also issued a statement. Brian Spivey said that he's basically there just to accept service of this lawsuit and that they will not be defending the lawsuit. That's going to be, I assume now, the next thing that's going to happen is the court's going to have a hearing and figure out whether or not they're going to appoint an administrator ad litem, is what they're called, to handle the defense of this wrongful death action, which is called an independent action. So I hope that's been helpful to you. But, if in this wrongful death lawsuit, what's interesting about it to me, too, is they also have to prove. So Nichole Schmidt has to prove that Brian Laundrie murdered Gabby Petito. She also has to prove that Brian had a duty to Gabby Petito. He breached that duty, and the cause of him killing her resulted in these damages, the expenses for the funeral, the burial, etc. Loss of comfort and care that Gabby's mother is seeking. Okay, so I just wanted to give you just a short overview. I hope this wasn't too long, just to let you know what the wrongful death claim says. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you think they have a cause of action for wrongful death? Do you think that they're going to recover nothing, according to Attorney Bernalino for the Laundries? What do you think should be done here? So you let me know. Please do leave your analysis by posting a comment. And please do subscribe to my channel. Please support my work by subscribing. And thank you to all of those of you who have subscribed. And hit that like button and hit the bell notification so you can stay tuned on my next video that I'll probably post on this case. So, and again, if you do want to contribute and support and donate to me making these videos, I truly appreciate it. I'll put a PayPal link in the description box below the video. So do subscribe, and thanks so much for watching.